we will discuss a new topic of chapter number 1, Algorithm and Programming Development. The topic is Flowcharts and Algorithm Development. Fine. So first of all, we will discuss what is flowchart. So as you can see from this line, a flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. So there will be a question in your mind, what is now an algorithm? Fine. So first we will directly go to the algorithm. What is algorithm? Algorithm क्या है? Algorithm is a finite sequence of instructions. ठीक है? It is what? It is algorithm is what? It is a finite sequence of instructions. Like we will give some instructions to our computer to perform. We would write it in the code form or in simple language form. The simple language form instructions, we call those instructions as algorithm. Right? This is very helpful to build a good source code, each of which has a clear meaning and can be performed with a finite amount of effort in a finite time of length. Finite means that kind of program or that kind of algorithm of a program that we could run on our real-time system. No matter what the input values may be, but an algorithm terminates after executing a finite number of instructions. It will perform the same task which it will be given by us as a pseudocode form. We represent an algorithm using a pseudo language. It is not a pure source code language. As we earlier discussed, we have to use some syntaxes to write a source code. So in the same way, to write an algorithm means a simple English language form code that is not in any syntax of that language, but it is for the all languages but written in the English form. That is a combination of constructs of a programming language together with informal English statements. Fine? Yes, it will take some constructs of that programming language, some constructs, but not all the syntax, that if I miss any semicolon then the algorithm will not work, because we will not execute our algorithm. We just logically execute our algorithm to see what kind of output it will give to us. Fine. So what is the ordered set of instructions required to solve a problem is known as algorithm. If we have to define it in one line, then it could be the ordered set. Ordered means the instructions that we are writing that should be in order. Like first what will happen, next what I want to add as an input, then last what will be my output. Find the ordered set of instructions required to solve a problem is known as an algorithm. So next, what are the qualities of a good algorithm? So as you know, the input which we are going to give, that should be precise. There should be no error, there should be no more values or less values. It should be precise. Next, what is each step in the algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. Unambiguous means there should be no two same steps, or there should be no any error in that sentence. Right? It should be clear what the user wants to do through this program, but we are not writing our source code. We are doing what? We are writing the algorithm of that program in simple English language. Algorithm should be most effective among many different ways to solve a problem. An algorithm should not include computer code. As I said, it will not include a source code. Instead, the algorithm should be written in such a way that it can be used in different programming languages. Fine. In the market now we have Java, PHP, Python. But for example, I want to add two numbers. So what is the logic behind it? What is the logic? We have to do what? We have to need two numbers, number 1 and number 2. Fine. And the sum value, where I will display my result after the summation. So first of all, I need two values. What I would say, start. What will the first line? Start. Second, declare variables number 1, number 2, number and sum. Then read values under number 1 and under 2. I want to sum 4 and 5. I want to add 4 and 4, 4 and 6, or any. Right? This is the meaning of read values. Next step would be, now I will add these numbers and will store the result in the third number, which I have given the name as sum. See the arrow? Number 1 and number 2 will add, and this will stored in the sum variable. Now I have to display the sum. Otherwise, how I'll get to know these two numbers have the result. Fine, I have to display that sum. The last step is stop. So this is the very effective English writing code to solve a problem. What was my problem? I want to add two numbers. And this is algorithm. I am not using any syntax of C language here. If I want to write code for Python, C, C++, Java, so the algorithm would be same for all these languages, because these languages have the same logical concept, but they have different syntaxes to write the source code. Fine? There will be a question in your mind, why we need all these things, algorithm, flowchart, to study. But these are helpful in the industry, in the IT industry. Like, if you want to build a software, there are many softwares nowadays for the banking, music, for the storage. Fine. If a developer wants to develop a software, before to start with the developing to writing the source code in the particular programming language, first of all, he or she have to prepare the documents for that project, to display these documents to the higher authorities. So what is inside that document? There would be a simple algorithm, so that that person who is not involved in the IT industry development, but he is at the higher authority, who will see what is this project about, because he doesn't know about the syntaxes of the language. So he will just read the algorithm that will be in the simple language, and he will come to know what the project is about. Fine. So that will be your first phase of development to writing the, not first phase, because before that there are many phases that you will study in your next year as a software engineering subject. Fine. So this is the simple language algorithm. Next we will discuss our next example. I think now we have to move to the flowchart, because now you know what is algorithm. So now you will come to know what is the meaning of this line. What was the definition of flowchart? A flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. Yes, now you will come to know the full definition, because you know the meaning of algorithm. Now you have to know the meaning of diagrammatic representation. Diagrammatic means, like in mathematics, we use some diagrams to display our mathematical problems. Here as well, to show our program in boxes, not the source code but the algorithm that we have write. Now I will display it in as a diagram that will be also in ordered set. Fine, everything should be in the ordered set. A flowchart can be helpful for both writing programs and explaining the program. Here is the main purpose of flowchart. It will explain the program to the others who is going to read your project. He will just let all the details by seeing the algorithm and then by seeing the flowchart of your program. So if it is diagrammatic representation, then there should be some symbols, like to writing a code of a language, we need some syntax to write. Same way, to draw a flowchart, we need some specific symbols which are already defined by the standard authority. We are just using it and it is universal accepted. Like the word as said, it is flow chart. That means the flow will run from one line to another line. If I want to jump to the next step, what symbol I will use? Arrow. What we call it as flow line. It indicates the flow of logic by connecting symbols. Okay? There would be many other symbols. If I want to connect one symbol with another symbol, then I'll use this line, flow line. Fine. Comes to the next. Next is what symbol? Yes, this one, oval shaped. This is used for terminal. Means either it is start point or stop point. It represents the start and the end of the flowchart. By seeing this, the user come to know this is the starting position and this is the ending of our flowchart. At the next page there is nothing to see. By seeing that, user will come to know. Next box is, yes, this is rhombus kind box, or we can say parallelogram. This is for input and output, used for input and output operation. As you remember from the algorithm to add to numbers, first line was what? I have to read the numbers which I want to sum. So read means what? Read means to take input. Fine? To take input of two numbers, I'll show in this type of box. And output means where I have to display the sum of these two numbers. Fine? That sum variable. That output also I have to display in this kind of symbol. Next symbol is rectangular box. This is used for processing, used for arithmetic operations and data manipulations. Like if I want to solve any mathematical quadratic equation, the in-between steps after the input and before the output, those whole steps I will show in this rectangular box. Now comes to our next symbol, that is diamond box. And why we use it? As a decision, used for decision making between two or more alternatives. As you know, programming is not so simple. Just to add to numbers is not a programming. But I have to check somewhere whether the result is as according to my need, it is fine. So decision is what? In your next chapters you will come to know how can we, what are the symbols or what are the notations that we can use for decision in the source code. Like if means what? J. Okay? If you want to check a condition, if it is true, then only my program should run, otherwise it should stop. If I have this scenario, then I'll use that symbol. If I want to check if the sum is less than 10, I'll write here in this box, if sum is less than 10, only it will flow to the next line, next diagram, otherwise it will terminate. So from this symbol you can write true thing or false thing. This is very important because in programming we have to check conditions again and again. Next symbol is circle. This is one page connector. It might be possible your flowchart is not coming on one page. It will be if you have a heavy project of university management system or library management system, banking system, then there are many modules that you cannot cover it on the one page. It would be on 1, 2 or more pages. Next is this symbol. This is this one. This is off page connector. If you want to connect some part of program to the different part of program that is on 3rd page or 4th page, then we will use this symbol used to connect the flowchart portion on a different page. And this is for the predefined functions or processes. Like suppose I am using main function. Okay, let's turn me on turbo. This is your software. We will perform all the programming. I'll open the program. One program. But if I am writing this line, according to you, you don't know about this, right? This is pre-processed line. I'm including one header file named stdio.h. So if I want to show this in my program, fine, with what symbol? Then I'll use this symbol, predefined processes or functions. Functions like what? If I'm using void main, fine, under this void main we will write some code that will execute our program. This main is what? Main is the predefined functions, inbuilt function. Okay? To show this kind of thing in our program, we will use this symbol. Now let's come to our example of flowchart. First is like we did in algorithm, add two numbers entered by the user. So you can see here, very first thing is this start symbol. You can see here, start symbol is oval shaped. Next is not read. This is what? Declare. Declare means I am processing my statement to declaring that I am using two numbers and third variable where I will store my result. So here I am using rectangular box, not parallelogram box, because I am not taking any input from the user here. I am just telling to the user. So it is a processed line. Next, as you can see, there are flow lines at every step. Next is what? Read number 1 and number 2. This line I have written in the parallelogram box. As you can see, why we will use it? for the input and the output. Next step is to add these two numbers a plus b and then store the result in some variable. Now this is also a process. So again we will use rectangular box to show this. Next is to show the sum of. Again what I will use the same as I have used in the input. Fine. Now here we will display a sum. Now my work has done. Last step would be yes, stop. So let's come to the next line, that is find the largest among three different numbers entered by the user. Now I have a problem. First we will see its algorithm, as you can do by yourself also. I have to find the largest number from given three numbers. First you will take, so what would be the sequence of program in your mind? Yes, you will think, yeah, first of all I need three numbers. Then from your mind you will check from these three numbers we can do comparison with only two values. In mathematics we also do the comparison with the two values, but I have three numbers. So what I will do, first I will compare first two values and then other two values. Fine. So in my mind I am planning the program like I will do these things. So this planning I will write here in the form of algorithm. First start, then declare variables. The declaration means how many variables you are going to use and what will be the names of that in your program. So this is the meaning of declaration. I have declared three variables. Yes, now I will read these values. I will take input from user. What will be under A, like I have took A in under A 10, for B 20, for C 30. And I know 30 is the largest. But if I have to program my computer to find the largest number, then how I will do so? Because inside a computer there is no human mind. We have to program it. Fine. So what I will do? As I said, we have to use our conditional statements. We have to take decision in programming. At any step we have to take decision. Now this situation has come. I have to check if my first number is greater than B. This is our supposition that if I will check, I will compare 10 and 20. I will see, is 10 greater than 20? Okay? You know, no, that's not true. But in programming, I have to mention each and everything. First of all, I'll check if A is greater than B. If it is true, then next line will execute. That if A is greater than B, then A should be greater than C too. If I want to display A as a greatest number. Okay? If then, suppose I have written 30, 20, 10. I'll check 30 is greater than 20. Yes. Then I have to check, is 30 greater than 10? Yes. If it is true, then I'll display 30 is the largest number. Right? Fine. So if A is greater than B, then I have to check if A is greater than C also. So if it is greater, then display A is the largest. Otherwise, else means otherwise C would be the largest, because A is greater than B. This is confirmed. But if it is not confirmed that A is greater than C also, that means C would be the largest, because A B नालों भी बड़ा है, इसका मतलब B तो छोटा ही रह गया, but A C नालों छोटा है. That means सारे जो greatest की होया C. ठीक है? So in programming we will use if-else statements. If means J, else means jump. otherwise। फिर हुण इस if दा otherwise कि ये जरूरी नहीं कि a वड्डा ही होए, a will be greater than b। The situation is b could be greater than a। If this will be situation, then I have to check is b greater than c also। If it is greater, then my result would be display b as a greatest number। लेकिन otherwise की होएगा जे b c नालों नहीं वड्डा, that means c is the largest। last step is ठीक है। This is the whole scenario that we have in our mind, but just we will display this whole situation in the form of algorithm here। So same thing we can do with the flowchart, but like all the things that I have written here, the same as you can see in your algorithm, but what is the difference? We are using some symbols to draw this example in front of any user। Now as you know, you don't know about the C code, okay? I have write hash include void meaning, you don't know about this as a beginner or as any other user, but if you will see this algorithm and will see this flowchart, you will come to know this is just a mathematical problem that you can see from here। So any normal user can also read the flowchart and will come to know what is your project is about। So again, for the start I will use the oval symbol, then for to declaring variables, again as I said, we have this is a processor line, we will use rectangular। For taking input we will use parallelogram। Then our next step is what? After taking the input, I'll check, I'll compare two values। For the comparison, for the decision, what symbol we have to use, we will see here। For the decision, this diamond box, so we will put a diamond box here। This diamond box, as I said, have two outputs, either it will be true or false। So at one side we will write true, if true then what will be next option, if true then what will be next option, it will come like this, like a ladder, okay? Now what we will check, if a is greater than b, if it is true, then according to our algorithm what we have to check, that a should be greater than c also। If it is true, then it will come to this section, fine। That means if a is greater than b, it should be greater than c if I want to show a as a largest number। First of all we will just see this right ladder, if it is true, then if it is also true, then what I will print, a is the largest number, then last step would be stop, fine। This left side will not execute if all these statements are true। This left side will execute if at first, if a is not greater than b, it could be possible, this is not sure, if a is 10 and b is 20, then can I say a is greater than b? No, a is less than b, so false statement will execute। Then I have to check that is b greater than c also। If it is true, if it is true, if b is greater than c also, then it will print what it will print, there is a mistake, sorry, here it would be true and there false। If it is true b, then we will print b as a largest number, otherwise if it is false, then that means c is the largest number, fine students। So there are many other examples that you can do by your own, like we have a problem So we will write a code here by our own by making a new file. Problem is I want to show 10 natural numbers. Okay? In your mind you will start, then what? You will declare two variables. One is n, just I'll take one variable n. In this n you will decide how many natural numbers you want to display. 10, 20, 30. Natural numbers are what? Let us start from 1 and ends the range that you will tell to them. Okay? You want to display n natural numbers. Again, next step would be read n. Okay? When user J suppose inu danda 7 is equal to 7. That means I have to display numbers from 1 to 7. 1 is fixed. Last step is 7. Read n means take input. Now we will use our loop. Yes, you don't know about the loops, but just take it as if I have to execute one statement again and again. Fine. What I want to do, I want to print from 1 till what? To n. I want to print number from 1 to n. This is my output. This is my input and this is my output. It's a very, very simple program. Last step is stop. This is very simple, basic algorithm to print from number 1 to n. So if I have to use some symbols, in the market there are many softwares. Like one software you have, here is an example of to use a software. I think they are using Creately. Fine. Creately. It is also a very good software to draw the flowcharts because there are some symbols that I have, like in the doc file you don't know about what symbol I have to use for star, but there they will be written. For the star we will use oval shaped. I have, if I want to write something here, so what I will do, I'll use a text box. Inside it I'll write start. Fine. Place it wisely. So next step is what? Then go insert. I have to use flow line. But I will use flow line. Okay, this is flow line. Next, I have to declare n. Then I'll use rectangular box. I'll use a text box inside it to write declare n. Fine. Again, I have to use flow line. This is my flow line. Next step is what? I have to use parallelogram to take input. Let's find parallelogram. Here it is. Fine. What I'll write here? Read n. Means read the limit till what I have to display the number. Read n means take input. Read n means take input. Again I have to use flow symbol. Fine, what I have to use? Flow symbol. Now I have to display one statement but many times. How many times? N times. So first of all I'll draw diamond box to show the condition to how many times I have to display this box again and again. Fine. I'm unable to take diamond box. Can you see from here where is diagonal box? Diamond box. this is the triangle, but we can use it as a diamond box. Here I'll write what I have to write. First of all, I think we missed one thing. What? Yes, these n, but I have to take two variables. One is I. Right? Now I have to mention my starting point. It means that is processed line. I write I as I is equal to 1. Fine? Because I have to start from 1. I have mentioned. Take I as a 1. Now, how many times I should go? I have to check here. Is I less than equal to n? Less than? How less than? Because I is 1. Fine? I is 1. So every time I'll check, is 1 less than n? If n is 10, so suppose yes. So next step would be what? To increment the I. If I will not increment the I, then how it will come to the next step? Yes, I have used flow line. Next step is flow line. Okay? If it is true, I'll write here. If it is true. Simple talks. I will write if it is true. If I is less than n, then only. You can make it long if you want. Then what? If it is true, then what I have to do? Simply I have to just display that number. So what symbol I will use? Yes, parallelogram. I will use parallelogram. What I will write here? Just print statement that I want to print I. First time I would be 1. Then it will check is I 1 is less than n. Yes, true. Then it will print that. So again I have to use what? Increment statement. After increment it will again check it. So we will make a box. We will upload the phone. Now our flow will come to this point again, to the condition. Fine. You have to see this arrow shape. After printing, I have to go back again to check the condition. But in between, what I need to do, I need to increment the value of I. Yes, to increment I. What I will write? Increment I. Our box is small, so what I will do, I will make it long for you so that you could see what I have right here. Increment I. Fine. So after increment, again it have to check whether this incremented number is less than. And like I have start from 1, then I checked, I printed. Now I value of I is 2. Is 2 less than n? True. Print 2. Then again value of I is 3. Is 3 less than n? Yes. If suppose n is 5. Yes. True. Print 3. Again it becomes 4. Is 4 less than n? Is 4 less than 5? Yes. True. Print I. Again it becomes 5. 5. Is 5 less than equal to 5? True. Print. Now it becomes 6. Is 6 less than equal to n? Is 6 less than equal to 5? No, it's not true. It's false. So I have to make false way also. If it is not true. Fine. If it is false, I have to take both conditions. If it is true or if it is false. But I'll write here false. If it is false, then what I will do? Just stop it. If you will not stop it, then it will not come back. I have to stop this. I have to tell my program, just stop it. I have to use one arrow line to stop it. If it is false, then no, that's incorrect. If it is false, then I have to not print anything. I will not print anything. What I will do? I will stop it. But every time if we are printing, after printing we will not stop. We will check condition first. If condition is false, if condition is true, it will printing. It is printing. But condition is false, it will stop our program. This is very simple flowchart that you can draw in the Microsoft Word. But there are some specific, as I mentioned, there are some specific softwares through which you can make flowcharts. These softwares are very good, but these are some very lengthy, I would say. But this is a simple way you can draw. But if you are in a company and you want to show your project in the flowchart form in front of your high authorities, then you have to use the softwares to create the flowchart. So comes to our topic. So what we did today? We did flowchart. What is flowchart? Why we use it? What is algorithm? What is the need of algorithm in our programming? So in programming, before to write the source code, we need algorithm. See, to draw this algorithm in pictorial form, then we will use flowchart. Thank you so much.